computer. Welcome to workshop number 4 of 4 in the Living Healthier, Longer, Peaceful Way series. Just a very quick reminder of the workshops that preceded this one. This topic is mindful movement, and it brings together the previous 3 topics. So we started with the principles and practices. We then moved in week 2 into being more present. Last week was about breath and how we use that for mindful practice. No, we did breath last week with Birgit, didn't we, Birgit? And this week about using body and breath in this mindful movement way. So as Colin suggested at the end of the last session, this workshop is going to bring us into our special practice that Colin has developed, that he's going to tell you about, that he's going to demonstrate, and we're going to practice together.
And we're going to practice as much as possible, and we might be doing it too quickly for you. On the other hand, you can always come back and watch the video again, and just if you miss something out, you can have another look at me doing this movement or talking about it or whatever it would be. So we're coming to this thing where we generally talk about things that belong to the Peaceful Way retreat, but these are almost like beliefs that are necessary for people to live healthier longer. So I thought we'd quickly go through these. So about living successfully and living on purpose, we're just saying, we always talk about not going to war. Don't go to war with the company you work for, don't go to war in your family, don't go to war with anybody. Live successfully, but live peacefully. And also find a purpose, something that you get up every morning, you know you're going to do something about that particular thing. It might not be paid work, it might be something that you do in service to someone. But if I took my purpose, is very simple. It's also the purpose of the Peaceful Way, as to search, to learn, to teach, to help people find meaning and add value to their lives. And every morning when I get up, I know I'm going to do something about that during the day. So that purpose brings more life to your life, in that sense. So it's nice to know what is my purpose, not objective, purpose. That means the way you're going to live. So bringing more life to life, it just comes to my body because I watch so many people when I'm sitting around drinking coffee or teaching something, and there are just so many people who are not fulfilling the possibility of the energy that they can have in their body to do something else. So you see their posture is often bad, they're walking too slowly or hesitantly. You know that there's life available to them that unfortunately they haven't managed to access, haven't been helped to access. So part of our thing and part of that purpose I've got is to help others bring more life to their life by finding a purpose.
I was watching a short video today, I think, and it was a yoga teacher who sort of moved more into the combination of dance and martial moves and things. The people around him were clearly dancers, and I just thought oftentimes when we watched a lot of dance, we go to a lot of dance as much as we can. And the thing I think that makes that so compelling for us to watch is the mastery they have of their bodies, and how incredible, especially we saw recently, didn't we, a couple, and their way of communicating with each other physically was just amazing. Oh, okay, we have Stephanie joining us. We'll just pause for a moment, if you don't mind.
No, just keep going.
No, I'm gonna say hello because we don't know her. We haven't met Stephanie.
I don't know Stephanie. Oh.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very good to welcome you. I'm happy to see you here on the workshop.
Thank you.
You've just missed a couple of intro minutes, Stephanie. And just as you can see in the people above you, Sheena and Birgit have been on most of the series of 4. And if I just go back a slide briefly, you can see how the sessions, the topics threaded and wove through each other. And we come to this final workshop where we're bringing movement and mindfulness and breath together.
Well, you are. Hopefully.
And Colin was just talking about the principles really of living healthier longer, which is our philosophy behind Peaceful Way retreats.
Yeah, the point about that is, we've said before, is that most people have a sense of a lifespan, but very few people have a sense of their health span. And often the health span runs out sometime before their lifespan does. So that at the end, with the last 10 years or 15 years, going back and forth to the doctor or going to a hospital or whatever, or can't walk and they wanted to walk, or can't play golf when they wanted to play golf. So that's us. We help people to live healthier for longer. And as this one says, where we're up to here, to bring more life to their life, to find the energy that's available to them and bring it into their life, so they can do those things they want to do, so they can think about possibility, what's possible for me in this life. The third one on there I've just come to is choose happiness, and that simply means when you're in a situation where you're talking to people and you're talking about the same thing and you're not feeling particularly great about it, or they're upset and they want you to be upset with them, say, well, what I'm saying is, and what we do is, we choose happiness all the time. That doesn't mean there's not moments when we're sad. Happiness is different to sadness, the same way as happiness is different to enjoyment. Enjoyment is a single item of something that give you a mirror into happiness, but it's not happiness. Happiness is about contentment and peace, and not just enjoyment. And you've got to always look to keep that. Do I have to give my happiness away in order to please this person or that person or this company or whatever? So, you know, we spend our minutes working for our money, but we should also think about how many minutes are we spending on attaining happiness, or being happy, or helping other people be happy. And that comes down to the next one, which means there's a great book, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, the scientist, his book was called Your Body Keeps the Score. And it's really important to get that from the moment you're born. Your body is keeping the score, what you've done to it, what you haven't done to it, what you've eaten, what you haven't eaten, how stressed you've been, or how happy you've been. It's keeping the score. And this guy came to the conclusion, after all his research over years and years and years, that around about the age of 55, you get the result, the score that they've got. And generally, that's when you have your first important illness. Okay, and it could be something, it could be depression, it could be Alzheimer's, it could be bigger than that, it could be smaller than that, but it's an illness which suddenly you think, I'm not doing as much as I used to be able to do. And the reason for that is you haven't been doing the things you need to do in your lifestyle, so you get a good score at the end. And finally, I'll leave this one, Karen, habits and rituals, the importance of having habits and rituals which are helping you enrich your life some way.
I mean, we talk about wellness being a practice. You know, I'm just writing a blog at the moment, which is wellness is not a pill or a medical intervention, right? And so that, going back to the body keeps the score, is, well, whatever you're practicing, that's what you'll get. And the question is, what are the practices that are our enriching practices that move us towards wellness and living healthier longer, versus the habits and rituals that are inhibiting that? Yes, Birgit.
I have a question about the body keeps the score, because Bessel van der Kolk, he writes a lot about trauma and how that affects your body and how that resides in your body. And when you started talking about it, I was wondering, how do you relate to trauma, and is your sort of concept in any way related to or relevant to people who have trauma in their body? I'm just curious now.
No, I'm not. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about people who, unfortunately, get into habits of what they eat, how they eat, or how they exercise or don't exercise, or they start living their life from a position of striving, so they get stressed a lot, and the body's keeping the score on that, and it's just saying around about that age, you're going to notice what's happened in your last 55 years. I mean, it could be plus 5 years, it could be plus 10, but his research is saying if you took an average, it's 55, and you start getting you got to start getting the result of how you've lived. And for that, some people that'll be great. Like I'm 77, I'm not getting too many bad results yet, you know. So I'm on a bonus at the minute, right? So I'm going to be a bit more than that.
There are a lot of, I think, somatic healing practices which do take the principle that you're referencing, Birgit, which is, you know, people can get trapped in their trauma because it manifests physically, and if we don't know how to release that, it stays and comes with us. And that's fascinating, but it's not something that we are qualified to talk about.
The habits and ritual one's really important for us, and what we do, because like it says, life is a daily practice, and what you practice you get. But what we're saying is you might have to learn some new things. You like how to breathe, as we've done things like that, how to stay in the present, how to move better, and then, but you're going to find a ritual or a habit. Otherwise, you'll get up and do it once or twice a week, and then all of a sudden you're not doing it because other parts of your body take over from that. So it really is to establish a habit or a principle for doing some of these things, you know.
And when we're talking to leaders as well, we're often talking about, when we're looking at different ways of behaving or doing things, it's as important that we think about the things that we will let go of, because we can't just keep adding to our to-do list. So if you know you have what you consider to be an unhelpful habit, finding one that replaces it is obviously a good balance, a good trade-off to have. So, you know, I'm not going to eat so much chocolate, but I am going to make sure that I've got fruit on hand, and that will be my new go-to snack, let's say.
And on this one, just look, we've got Moshe Feldenkrais, a quote. He didn't give it us personally, we found in the book somewhere. Movement is life. And I find my personal experience says this is true, because I'm 77 now. I've been moving deliberately since I was 18 or 19, and practicing mindful movement for most of that time as well. And one of the things it does, you learn more about yourself. You become more self-aware, and you understand what's good for you and what's bad for you. You just begin to make decisions which were better because they were wiser, because you know who you are, you know what's important to you, you have a sense of purpose, and you know where you're going. And that's what you do. When you're moving. When you're not moving, you don't like that. And we're not talking here about running a marathon or climbing a mountain. We're just talking about, if you don't move very much, just move a little bit more, and you'll feel the freedom that you start to get by suddenly realizing you can move. There's so many people I know who can't put their arms up in the air because their shoulders have...
Or turn their heads. There's quite a lot of people when you reach a certain age that they find reversing the car quite difficult.
Yeah.
I want to just highlight that I chose this picture on the right with an intention, with a purpose. So Sheena, you've been on this retreat with us, and you know Roman and Monique, who are in this picture. And this is a French couple that we met in Portugal, who live in the same apartment block as us, and they're in their 70s and they're retired, and we see them walk past our window every morning holding hands, and they go for a walk before breakfast. But Romain used to be an avid gym and weights. He's quite a slight guy, but you know, he would push weights in the gym. And Monique used to do a lot of gymnastics. And they came on retreat with us, and I was quite nervous because we weren't sure what physical state they were in. And secondly, we weren't sure how much of the practice they were wanting to experience. They were very interested in mindfulness and meditation. And they came to every yoga practice, as you can recall, maybe Sheena. And what was so powerful, two things. One, as far as Romain was concerned, in that he described afterwards that he'd discovered things about his body that in his 70s he never knew. He never knew that that was available to him, that sort of sensitivity and awareness he'd uncovered, and it was mind-blowing for him. And the second part is, as far as Monique is concerned, she took up a regular yoga and Pilates practice, which she continues to this day since the retreat, so 2.5 years ago, since they were on retreat with us. So, you know, a special couple in our hearts. And I just thought, in terms of this topic, it was a good picture to feature.
But that's what we work for for people making a significant difference in their life. And when we talk about movement, we're not talking about moving because you've got big muscles or you're a big person, or you want to run a huge race or something like that. We're talking about muscles and bones and joints which actually work for you as you're alive. So what's my job? How much have I got to move to make this happen in my life? How many sports do I want to be involved in? What? But what's the body I need to make that work? And in mindful movement, it's always done soft and gently, because you need to be able to help to understand your body, which part of your body is moving at this point. And that's going to create a neural pathway to your brain to help you learn that and to do it more easily, effortlessly. So there's awesome elements to mindful movement, which are not necessarily there when you're lifting weights or just running. You're running so fast, if you're lifting the weight so heavy, there's too much going on and your brain gets confused and it can't create a neural pathway to help you do it better. So the elements we're talking about is, we're going to ask you to do it soon, to always move slowly, to give yourself a chance to notice what's happening in your body, to notice where your balance is, to notice where your weight is, and moving gently. You're never moving sharply in any way at all. You're not trying to hurt someone or hit someone. You're just moving gently. And if you're moving with another person, like in dancing, to make sure you're in harmony with that other person, whatever you're doing there.
Easeful movement maybe is a nice description. And people will often connect mindful movement with yoga, but yoga in of itself is not necessarily mindful movement. It can be, and those people that practice yoga with us will know that that is how we practice, that there are no sudden, Colin's put on this slide, no drama free. We do practice yoga in a drama free way. Yes, we are fairly slow. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's actually harder to move slowly than it is to move fast, especially when you're practicing like a kata in a martial art. And just this idea of how can you organize your body or become aware enough of your body that it can work for you, that you haven't got to put that muscle effort into the movement.
And that move slowly, move gently. Again, this is the part that gets you to understand more about yourself, to get to that level almost what we would call soul, or who am I, who is the authentic me, so I can spend time in the present and make decisions about my life, not determined by the past and not determined by the future, but just determined by knowing who I am and what I want out of this particular life.
And just as we go to the next slide now, where we're talking about some of the health benefits, just maybe reflecting a moment on some of the practices that you have that are more mindful and less mindful. So what do you do today that you would consider to be a mindful way of moving, and what are the things that you do that maybe are less mindful? We won't read these out, but obviously the evidence and the science and the research, it makes it a pretty compelling picture to say that if we can move better in this way, the health benefits that we'll realize for ourselves. And obviously something that we're very passionate about is, when you're doing things differently, that influence is infectious. And so other people come on that journey with you, or influence too, like Sheena, I know you do your cold water swimming sometimes, your outdoor swimming, who are the people that come along with that because you're doing it? So your intentionality about particular practice, you have a community, or you build a community, or you bring people with you, and who wouldn't want to be a role model for health and well-being versus the opposite?
Yeah, and this is important in that sense. Just a slight, this is movement for health benefits. So that's health for my life, to live better, to live happier, to live in a great state for longer. It's not performance benefits. What I mean by performance benefits, if you're a weightlifter and you want to lift more weights than the other guy, you're just going to be pushing weights all the time. You're not doing it just for your life will be better. You're doing it to win something. In our case, we're winning time. We're winning happiness by using my body the way it was meant to be.
This picture was in Coworth Park, which, Birgit, Coworth Park would not have been built when you lived around here, but it's a beautiful hotel in Ascot, and it has this amazing flower field. And we will often find ourselves making this this movement, and you'll see this movement is in the kata that we're going to demonstrate. And sometimes I think we get some funny looks, but it is just like, I feel we're opening to the surroundings, to nature around us, and it just feels wonderful to do that in a natural environment.
So let's move on to the first example.
So we were going to have a walking practice, but we concluded that actually walking and having the camera on, etc., was going to be a challenge. So we're going to do a practice that is seated. And it's nothing dramatic, but if you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be on camera. So I'm going to turn to my side just so that you can see better, and I'm just going to angle it. So the first thing that I want you just to do is to, for those of you that have practiced yoga before, you know, you'll be familiar with cat-cow. We're going to do a seated version of that, and just thinking about, okay, so what does cat look like? Well, the background's the chin tucks. And what does cow look like? Well, the chest comes forward and my head lifts, right? So just do that movement for yourself a couple of times. So, okay, we're not on our knees as we might normally be in cat-cow. But how does that movement feel for us as we round the back versus open the chest? Just notice the sensations as you move between those 2 points. Good, and you maybe find your groove if this is a practice that is regular for you. Okay, so we're now going to pause for a moment, and shortly I would like you to go back into that practice. I'd like you to close your eyes, and I'm going to guide you into the practice a little bit. So I'm going to add a few elements. Again, Sheena, you practice yoga with me, so you'll know this is a fairly familiar practice. So I want you to reflect back on how the practice that you just did, even if it was just a couple of turns, felt compared to this one. So go ahead and close your eyes. And then I want you to begin the movement. We're going to come into cow first. So I want you to slide your pelvis slightly forward, tilt the pelvis forward, and feel that snaking up through the abdomen, the chest, as the chin and face lifts. Then I want you to, starting at the top of your head, start to turn the chin back in and make that movement snake-like, move down the spine. So the pelvis tilts in the opposite direction. So it tilts towards the knees. So now we're going to inhale, take the pelvis back, come into cat-cow as the chest and head lifts, face lifts maybe. And exhaling, chin tucks, shoulders round, pelvis slips the opposite direction. 2 more times just without me talking. Adding your breath. And then coming back. Good. So just as you reflect on those two parts of the practice, what did you notice, observe, feel, sense, think that may have been different between the 2 versions?
Nobody experienced.
I was trying to get myself off mute. I think you have to be more aware and mindful of when you're doing the full movement, because you have to feel that curve coming through, be more aware of it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the mindful bit of it is to make sure that when you're doing that, you're not thinking to yourself, I wonder if I'm doing it right. Could I do it better? She's better than me. I like that top she's got on. What? We're not thinking any of those things. We're just with our body and letting our body talk to us in that sense.
Yeah. And lovely what you said, Stephanie, about it actually made you go slower. And eyes closed makes a difference, absolutely. So sometimes when we're practicing a mindful movement, it completely shifts your experience because you're cutting off your what is typically your primary channel of experiencing the world, that does make you go inside. So we sometimes talk about this analogy, like a turtle pulling its limbs in, we bring ourselves inside our body, and that, when we're practicing, whether we're practicing Mushin-no or yoga, is a perfect place to start a practice. Thanks for sharing. Birgit?
Yeah, I found the first round was lovely because you just get a bit of a stretch and it's just
Yeah.
But the second one felt a lot more fluid. So really luxurious and just sweet. So yeah, really sweet.
That's the terminology that
I'm not going to use that in the Mushin-no class tomorrow. I want you to move sweetly, guys.
No, you could use luxurious. That's a nice way of describing it.
You have my permission.
So
Sweet and luxurious.
So we've got luxurious, sweet, we've got slow, we've got awareness sort of going inside the body. So thinking about that, you know, and if that was a description of mindful movement, I would say that's a really rich description, and I really love it.
Especially mindful, we mean mindful is actually when, in a sense, your mind is on your body. It's not an automatic movement. It's a movement that you're deliberately taking, and your mind and your body are moving together. Not your mind's around the corner over there and your body's just doing an automatic movement, but your whole body is in coherence and working together.
And we talk about embodiment, you know, like we were talking about dancers earlier. I mean, there are a great example when you observe a dancer, they are embodying the moves, you know, they're not doing dancing by numbers. They're way beyond that, their sense of mastery, whether that's the physical mastery, the connection mastery with the people they're dancing with, or with the music, or all of those. You know, it does sort of take your breath away a bit when you're looking at it through the lens, not just of a performance.
We're going to show you now something that, although Karen said I have developed this over quite a few years. It's a very small series of movements, and it includes movements from yoga, movements from Mushin-no, movements from dance, but it particularly includes from yoga and from other meditation means mudras, which are movements which mean something. You know, you see people dancing, it would be like that, there would be another move coming, and this move means something to the audience. But more importantly, in case you didn't know this bit, your brain, of course, communicates with your body, but also your body communicates back to the brain, not necessarily back, but sometimes in advance of the brain. It communicates what it wants, and the brain gives it. It's really important when you're doing all these moves in this little exercise regime are there to access your parasympathetic nervous system. So you're going to be peaceful, you're going to be calm, you're going to be at ease, you're going to feel free. And that comes better in a minute when we talk about bring a little bit of therapy into it. So that's where every movement has a meaning, which your brain knows what this move means. So when you're using it to help you do something, your brain is already following a story, it's a narrative that comes through this. And we'll tell you how to use this as long as we don't run out of time. Okay.
You can see from this first quote here, Mushin-no-Shin roughly translates as mind of no mind. And it's a principle that you will find in all martial arts books.
Yeah, and before martial arts, in meditation in northern India. Yeah. So Mushin-no-Shin means mind of no mind. It's a mind-body state which allows you to act instantly with a very clear mind. So if you read that, the mind of no mind is like clear water that flows freely. When you have a confused mind, there's too much things going on in your mind and you're trying to do too many things at once. The mind becomes like a block of ice that needs to be thawed before it can move. So you're looking for a free movement that's coming, it's mindful, it's got your life's energy in it as well as your muscles energy in it. And the second part of that is saying Mushin-1, which is what you're going to do in a minute, this kata, short kata. It helps the practitioner to access this wonderful and mysterious state. It has been a mystery for years. The first time I was heard of it, and I've got one of the books actually, a Japanese monk was communicating to one of the world's greatest ever samurai, Mamoto Musashi. This was back in 1500, 1400 and something, and he was explaining this state that he needed to have if he was going to win every fight when he got involved with fighting. And it was mysterious. They kept it a secret because they didn't want everybody to know, otherwise everybody would be successful, which is impossible when you're trying to kill each other. It had been developed using wisdom from the early martial arts, from yoga, from meditation, from mindfulness, the recent science, and from NLP. Those are the things I use to put this movement together. Is there another line?
Yes.
So in practicing this short mind-body exercise for 3 to 5 minutes per day, and 3 to 5 days per week, will help people increase self-awareness. They will become more aware of who they are and what's important to them. That would be given to them. They don't have to ask for it. It'll reduce stress, absolutely reduce stress, increase happiness and success. And that's why we call it, that's why I'm saying it brings more life to life. And just those few minutes out of your life to be able to do this exercise. It's got to be done mindfully to get the results, and it's got to be done slowly, and it's got to have no drama in it whatsoever. And also, this is what I mean by as a therapy. And some of this came from NLP, this bit, is to say that if I want to be something, I want to be different to I am now. If I want to be confident, let's say at work, to do a presentation in front of a group of people that I get fearful of, or frightened of, or nervous about, then how you would use this, as you are starting, you'd set your outcome. I want to be more confident at work. I want to be able to stand confidently and do what I need to do. And you think to yourself, okay, what would I look like? And you see yourself as a picture of what you would look like. What would I sound like? What would it feel like to be confident at work? And what would I see on the faces of the audience if I was that? So you get this picture of who you are, what you want to be, and how it would feel. You use as many of your senses as possible to get this picture of yourself. And when you go into this journey, so when you enter into Mushin-no-Shin, that's your outcome, the story will take over itself. You don't have to do anything but keep that picture there. And your body will start feeding to your brain, because before, when you thought presentation, you got nervous, frightened, scared, whatever it would be. But you can't get that now, because every move is going to keep you relaxed and calm and know that you're well. You're going to stay in a gentle state, a happy state, while you're seeing yourself doing this thing, and that will remove or create a new neural pathway to allow you to do it with practice. It could be fear of heights, it could be fear of going in an aeroplane, it could be anything you can put into it. But if you put nothing into it and you just practice it with absolutely nothing on your mind in that sense, you will learn something really important to you, because your body always takes the chance to teach you. All you've got to remember is it might be the next day. You see something you've never seen before, you hadn't noticed before, and you start thinking, how did I learn about that? Because it creates a different sense of consciousness. You jump out of your daily sense of consciousness and you move up, and you just start seeing the world differently. You start seeing things in the world that you hadn't noticed before, or things in other people that you hadn't noticed, or things in yourself that you hadn't noticed. And your body will reveal them to you.
There's layers of learning within this practice, and obviously when we have a retreat environment where we've got people for maybe 6 days, you would build up those layers. And just like, you know, riding a bike, especially for people that aren't that experienced in physical practices, they're not used to using their body in this way, you'd obviously start with the physical form, much as we would have done as beginners in martial arts. We've obviously hopefully demonstrated the way that the breath is moved through, woven through each of these sessions that we've done, that, you know, keep coming back to the breath, because it's such a grounding place to start if you want to be and feel well and maintain that calm state. So the breath is an overlay, and then the narrative that we're going to share briefly with you today. We're not going to have a lot of time to do that because we want you to actually physically practice. So Colin, you've got to make a decision. Do you want to show the video first?
Yeah, Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so this is just a very short video of one practice of this kata, so one round.
I'm going to say something here. There's one extra move in this which comes on at the end. That won't be in what you're seeing. It's a move I was trying out to see if it had any value for this, and it didn't, so I've dropped it. This is on a beach near our house.
Yeah, I haven't turned the sound on, so you can't hear the sound of the waves. Well, we'll hear it.
The waves on.
Well, I'll have to stop sharing and share again. Hang on.
It's not as good without the waves because you get your breathing into the waves.
Oh, I have to stop sharing first. Hang on. And reshare.
Oh, all right.
Well, you have to tick a little button.
Right, good. Can't hear a thing. No sound.
Okay, so that is, apart from the little additional bit on the end, the series of movements that is Mushin-no-Shin. So these are the elements starting to finishing. So did you want to?
Are you going to watch this?
Yeah, I'm going to turn in a minute. So do you want me just to go through these first?
No, I'll do them at the same time as I'm shooting. I'll show some of them on this seat as I'm sitting. So move this away.
Well, do you want me to stop the screen share so they can see you better?
Yeah.
So they won't be able to look at those.
Okay, so the first move you'll see, I'll be standing and my hands are down by my side and I'm using this mudra. This helps you, make sure your breath goes to the this bottom of your lungs. This will help you access your breath to the bottom of your lungs and slowly bring it up. So this is important, but it's also a sign, becomes an anchor for great performance. You then bring your, you're standing on your left foot, you bring your right foot in and your hands come to the heart center and your feet touch and your head drops. This is you accepting, if you like, accepting to the journey you're going to go on, accepting whatever's going to happen there, and you're doing it with humility, not with any anger or with any ego, just humility, saying, I will open to all the learning. And you go balance at that state. It's a hard balance because your feet are touching each other on the ground, and you might find that difficult, but that's important as well, because it's just saying, that's a message I'm getting from my body. I need to learn how to balance my mind, my heart, and the rest of my body and my breath. And from that balance state is where you'll finally make decisions. So that's the first part. The second part is where I go here and I go down to the floor and touch the floor, bend down, touch the floor, and come all the way back up. And at this point, I've accepted, when I did this, I've accepted the challenge for the learning. I've gathered all the resources available to me in my body and my mind, and I'm between the earth and between the heavens, as it were. And then I bring this together. I bring my feet together again at the same time as my hands. And this is my head and my heart joining in coherence with all my energy centers. And this is me aligning all the energy centers in my body. And now I'm going to start the adventure. I'm going to, if I was imagining it, I want to be more confident. I see that picture of me being confident. I can hear the people laughing and joking and cheering. And I'm going to just take that journey slowly as I can to then watch. This is the time when your body is starting to find out what are the things that might get in the way that I can help Colin with. And then I'm going to courageously open my heart to let all the learning come in. And then I step aside into that low posture and I move my arms out, and that is me letting go of all the unnecessary, the outdated beliefs, the outdated ideas that I've had. Let go of all those so I can move forward with possibility. And then we'd stand up again. This is, I come home, and then I return to the first part.
So,
That's the narrative that you put a story into. And your body, every part of that movement you're doing is passing messages to your brain saying, this is important, I feel great about it, I'm happy about it, I'm going to stay calm and relaxed. Are you going to do that?
So Colin's going to go over there. I'm just going to change the angle. And if you want to stand up, we will, obviously you can watch Colin, and I'll let you practice once just the physical movement, and then I'm going to guide you to the breathing that goes with the practice. So again, we might not see you on screen. If you'd rather we didn't, then you can just turn your camera off, but you need to find a place where you've got a little bit of space to your left and your right.
Take a risk, find a bit of space, and do it with me. We're going to do it 3 times.
So I'm going to just add the breath after the first time.
So listen, Karen, tell you when to breathe in, when to breathe out. Deep breathing, soft breathing, gentle breathing, with about a count of 4, 4, 5, 5, something like that. So here we go.
Okay, so you're back to the beginning now. So I'm going to guide you with a suggestion on the breath. So as you'll notice here that each movement is typically on the out breath. So the hold or the pause or the transition is where we take the inhale. The breath is ideally in and out through the nose. And as Colin said, either a 4-4 or a 5-5. Ideally, as you practice more, that you get slightly longer exhale than your inhale. Don't worry too much about that now. So inhaling and then stepping together on the exhale. And then inhaling. Exhaling, you're going to reach down, step the legs apart, and finish your inhale at the top. Feet and hands in opposite directions. Good. Take an inhale. Exhale, step the feet and the hands together, and then bring the hands down to heart center. Inhaling from your hands at heart center. Exhaling, you send your hands out in that direction that you want to travel. Take an inhale. Exhale, you're going to open hands out to the side, and then exhaling, stepping out, opening the arms as you release all the unnecessary. Take an inhale. Exhale, you step the feet and the hands back together to that starting position, the head drops. Take an inhale. Exhale as you step back to the start point, the returning home. We'll go one more time. Inhaling. Exhaling, step feet and hands together. Inhaling. Exhaling, reaching down towards the earth and up towards the sky. Inhaling. Exhaling, step the feet and the hands together, and then draw the hands down the energy centers back to heart center. Inhaling. Exhaling as the hands and arms travel forward. Exhaling, open out the arms to either side. Elbows are soft. Take an inhale. Exhaling, stepping the feet apart and sending the arms in front. Inhaling. Exhaling, step the feet and the hands back together to heart center. Inhaling and exhaling, you're back at the start point. Okay, well done. Any thoughts or observations or questions, as Colin said?
So remember, it's mindful. That means not only are you aware of your breath moving inside your body, you're aware of all the different sensations that are occurring. But equally, if you're thinking at that point, what you're doing is you're sabotaging the possibility of new learning. Because by thinking, you're going into the past or you're going into the future. And that's just going to make the same decision that I've always made. I look at I look at old pictures from the past. I remember things, or I look at the tea leaves to try to work out what's happening in my life. So I'm making decisions based on the same things I've always used. So you've got to, as you start to practice the breath, also start to allow yourself to close down that thinking. Just even if it's just start to extend the space between the words that you're saying to yourself, just extend it. And all we're saying there is you just need to do that 3 times. That's about 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes a day. You can do it up to 5, you can do it loads of times a day if you want. But it's enough to make a difference to find 3 minutes and do 3 minutes of Mushin-no-Shin.
That's definitely your comment about an excellent grounding practice. Delighted that you felt that and experienced that through the movement. Thank you.
Absolutely. And remember, you can take the breathing part of that, and just even if you are nervous in a group, suddenly nervous came across you, then just do that breathing and you would lose that. Or use this, because once you've done that thing 3 or 4 times, this would become an anchor for a state, physical, mental state. And you'll start breathing differently, and all of a sudden, when you're a bit nervous, you weren't sure it was your turn to speak or whatever it would be, and all of a sudden you're not nervous because you've set this anchor up over a long time of practicing, and it'll come with you. As soon as you do that, your body will start to relax, to become one with itself.
It's a really beautiful sequence, but I felt myself like thinking, I want to go slower. I need to do this slower. And this is too fast. So,
yeah, I did do. So funny enough, I did found that. And the reason I'm finding that was a ridiculous reason for me, to be honest, after 70 years. I've got these shoes on that were clutching the floor. So when I want to move these feet in really slow, and this to move really, really slow. But you can only really do that if you're able to breathe at about 6 in, 8 out, something like that, or you can get beyond 4/4, which was the limited smallest breathing you should be able to do. And I was going faster than that tonight, because I was thinking, how much are you going to be breathing? And if I try that sort of level of breath, I'll do that. But it makes too fast for me.
We'll often be practicing, as some of you know, with music. So we use music at almost every practice, and we choose very specific music to practice to, and that also helps us get into the state, but it also the flow then and the pace or the cadence of the movement.
Yeah.
Sheena?
Having trouble with my mute button here today. Yeah, I've been thinking about this Mushin because I obviously learned it when I was in Portugal, and remember enjoying the benefits of it, the slowing down, the opportunity to be very conscious about everything, and thought I would like to reintroduce that into my day to start things off. A good way to start when my body's having a little chat to me sometimes. And now that you've reminded me about it, and I actually found my booklet, I'm going to go and put that into my early morning.
Yeah.
Just to,
Nice.
And that's what we mean by habits and rituals.
Yeah.
You know, if you get up in the morning, you have a shower, you wash your teeth, you should also do Mushin. Even if you do it in the shower, it doesn't matter. You can do it anywhere. We recommend, if you get the opportunity, to do it outside in nature. So you're looking at a blue sky or some sea, like we were on the beach or out in your garden. So your feet are in touch with nature, if you can, in touch with the earth. And once you go here and you're looking up, life seems so easy. It's vast, this thing called life, and I can do anything I want with it, you know. So
much easier to connect to that sense, and it really is. During lockdown, we were practicing on a little lake near us because we weren't able to practice indoors. There would just be a few of us practicing, and nobody wanted to move away from that. We had deer coming to the lake, just there feeding while we were practicing. We had birds overhead. We had dogs come and join us fairly frequently. It was just a completely different quality, and we're like, well, I want to go in a hall now. It feels wrong to be in a hall again.
It did feel wrong. So on the beach is a great place to be. That was one. There's a Mushin-2 actually, which you won't have seen yet, which is doing Mushin as you're walking. So it's not just on the spot, it's as you're walking, and we'll show you that another time. We'll make a video of it so you can see how to make that work as well. Because I'm always practicing my breathing or mindfulness as I go for walks, and typically I would walk somewhere between 6 and 8 miles per day, and most of the time, unless I'm crossing the road, I want to be in a mindful state. But that's good.
So over to you really for any questions or closing comments, your experience, your thoughts.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be part of these 4 workshops. It's been really, really lovely, and something I've been looking forward to every week. Last week was really wonderful for me because I learned about these breath techniques, and I ordered the book. So I'll read it, I'll incorporate it, and thank you so much. It was just lovely and very, very enriching.
I don't know if we've told you this story because I can't remember what we're doing in the last workshops, or what we said, what we ad-libbed it. But we did this Mushin-no-Shin. It was I was going to say a young lady, but she was probably in her 60s, so she's a bit more than young. But she played the gongs and the singing bowls, and she was a musician, so she didn't just play them and hope they worked. She wrote music to go with them, and she came and she watched us practicing. She came to our retreat, a 1-day retreat, and she watched us practicing Mushin. And as she was watching, she was writing down what she was seeing and coming up with some music that would match that Mushin-no-Shin. And so then Karen and I got up to do it, and she played the music, and we only did it 2 or 3 times. And at the end of it, the people watching were in tears, and she was in tears playing the things, because something had happened in the room that, in fact, like great art would, it'll people emotional about it. So something was happening in that room when we did that caused people to really feel tears of pleasure, as it were, having seen something like that. And that, what's great about that is every time you do it, you're going to get that for yourself. And it costs nothing except 3 minutes, you know. And I was teaching someone, in fact, I'm seeing him again on Friday, and I was saying, well, that's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. I showed him that as the final part of a couple of hours of coaching. I showed him that, you know, and he said, Colin, I can't find 3 minutes in my life. And I thought, what an awful thing. I said, I'm not even asking you to do something different. I'm just saying, I said, do it when you're in the shower. He said, oh, I don't know, John. I said, look, you know, I'm not asking you to stop breathing. You already breathe. I'm just asking you to breathe slightly differently. You're not doing a different 3 minutes. You know, it's the same 3 minutes that you're in the shower. But anyway, you didn't do it, so I'm back tomorrow.
There's something really interesting I came across yesterday, which this lady called inconvenient pleasures.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you know what's good for you, and you think, I don't have the time, but you have to embrace inconvenient pleasures because they enrich your life so much, even if you just, you know, do something for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's inconvenient at that time, but it's so valuable.
We all need a practice in our daily life, which takes us away from our daily life and lets us view a different life that might occur to me. And in Japan, they call it the do. So we have Washin-do, the way of Washin, the way of peace. And or in Karate do, it's the way of karate, the way of the empty hand. The do is a way, and every martial art and things like the tea ceremony become do's because they wouldn't allow them to practice martial arts, so they wanted the martial arts to be part of the culture, not part of a killing thing. So they changed them all to do's. So they lost the idea of killing and started practicing in order to live, or to help other people live, you know. And that's when they got softer and softer, and so on. Not now. Bruce Lee ruined that. You know?
Stephanie, thank you for your comments. It's really nice to see that that was just the right timing for you as well. So we love hosting these type of events. So we would really value you continuing to be part of our community and conversations, where we'll be hosting more of these type of sessions. We have, if you are local, we'll be running some more day retreats, and we have our main Portugal retreat this year in October. Which we're very much looking forward to, where there'll be a lot of Mushin in that as well. So thank you for giving up some, you know, we were competing with Wimbledon tonight, right? We were pretty impressed. We're located, Stephanie, in Berkshire, and we have weekly practices of Mushin-do in both Crowthorne, if you know the area, and in near Ascot. And yoga wise, we have it's all on Zoom still at the moment, on a Monday lunchtime and a Wednesday evening. So we practice Tuesdays, Fridays and Sunday mornings, Mushin-do. And then our other practices happen wherever and whenever we organize them, really.
Yeah, and if just in case you forget those moves, you might not. I'd be surprised if you remember them straight away. It'd be pretty good if you do. You can always get a copy of the video and watch the video again.
I'll send, so we've recorded each of these sessions, Stephanie. So if you wanted to listen to the ones that came before, I'll share them with you. We'll put them probably onto social media too. And I'll share the deck that's got the video embedded in it of this particular one, which has got that Mushin that Colin was demonstrating. Yeah.
With an extra move.
Yeah.
Which was horrible.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us this evening. You take care. See you all again soon, I hope. Berg, it's so nice to see you after a long time. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. How can you access, Stephanie? What is it you'd like to access? What would you like to access?
To access the video.
Oh, okay. I'm going to email you the links. So I'll put them onto YouTube, and then I'll email them so that you can watch them at your leisure.
Okay, thank you.
Whereabouts are you based, Stephanie? Are you close by?
No, I'm in the US. I'm in Texas.
Okay, I thought I could. Yeah, that's a little far to travel for a day retreat, right?
I would
yes. Well, we can meet in the middle.
And everything.
Sorry, Stephanie.
So you guys are in?
We're in the UK.
You're in the UK.
About 30 miles outside London.
But we also.
Okay, but you're referencing
Portugal.
Yeah, you were referencing Portugal, and where?
We're based on the Algarve when we're there. So we're somewhere between the UK and the Algarve. And our retreats are one of two centres at the moment. One is in the west.
They're both in the west. In
Western
Algarve.
One's just slightly above the Algarve in the Alentejo region, but both towards the coast.
Yeah. And we often go to the beaches because there's lots of beaches around where we live. And we practice on the beach. And especially early in the morning when there's no one else there.
And they tend to be from people, you know, all around the world. We have people from Finland, from Germany coming to those retreats in other countries. So yeah, it's a nice group.
That's great. When is the next Portugal retreat?
It is the 16th to the 22nd of October, which is the Saturday. Funnily enough, I had an inquiry this week from another American lady. Arrive on the Sunday and leave and depart on the Saturday.
And you get a choice. You get 5-star accommodation in a beautiful retreat centre, and you get 3 meals a day, and you have a choice of, you can practice 5 times a day with us. We put on 5 things: yoga, Mushin-do, meditation, and Mushin. And we go for mindful walks, and we have parties in the evening, and
We are not an alcohol-free retreat. I mean, it's obviously optional. All I'm saying is we don't do the sort of the ascetic retreat. We believe in laughing together, having fun, and yeah, not removing all pleasures.
Have a look at this place. This is one of our places.
You can't see it. I'm just going to type the link.
Can I get specifics on that one? Because
yeah,
there's a good chance my daughter lives in Spain. So we were heading to visit her, but also going to Portugal as well.
Good.
Well, you should definitely visit Portugal, Stephanie. It's
I'll just move it from September to October.
We only live about 30 minutes from the Spanish border, actually.
Yeah, it's not even 30 minutes, I think. We're about 10 miles. So we're right.
We're on the eastern Algarve, and our retreat centres are on the western Algarve. But it's only an hour and a bit away.
I just shared this link. So what you'll see in here is there is a video embedded, I think, at the bottom. That's the retreat centre.
Oh, wow.
And it's just completely fabulous. We stayed there last year and it was delightful. It's not on that page, but on our social media page, I'll send you it. There's a video of the actual centre which shows you, the environment, and it's really delightful. We're very particular about the environments for our retreats because we know how important it is. But it's such a joy to do them, isn't it?
Good.
Sounds wonderful.
Meet you, Stephanie.
Meet you.
I'll send you
thank
recordings.
Okay.
All right.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.